Today we're going to start with vitals. Vitals is the second module in the AO scan. The AO scan has 4 modules: inner voice, vitals, comprehensive, and Cephi. And everything else in the scanner evolves and involves those items, one or all of those modules. But today we're going to talk about vitals. Vitals can be a little overwhelming. When you first do your vitals, there's so much information. So what I would like to do is show you and maybe help ease some of the angst that comes up when you do your first vitals, maybe even your 10th vitals. It's not so hard, it's not so complicated, and it's definitely not something you need to worry about. Vitals, we're looking at the frequency signatures of the chemistry in our body. Now, we're not measuring your blood, we're not measuring your amino acids and your vitamins and your bacterial loads. We're looking at the frequencies that those things represent in your body. And remember, just like a blood test, a vital scan is a snapshot of that moment in time. Things change. Our blood, our emotions, our chemistry is always in that web and flow. Like when you go and draw your blood, if you just ate, an hour or two before, it's going to affect how that blood test looks. Just like if you sit down to do a vital scan, and you haven't drank some water and take a few minutes to relax and breathe, that's going to affect it too. It's a snapshot in time. So let's go to the screen here. You click on vitals, 4th button down on your menu, and it lists the different categories. And you'll notice that it comes up that all the categories are pre-checked. Now, when you're doing an initial vitals, you definitely want to have all of that done. But to change that, all you have to do is just over to the right, you see a little button that says deselect all. You just push that, and as you can see, all those check marks go away. And then you can just select whichever category you want to scan. Okay. So we'll select those back. Okay, so before we go through the scan itself, let me show you a tool that's amazing. Up at the top right corner of your screen, you'll see a little blue circle with a question mark in the middle. If you click on that, it gives you some instructions about the vitals. Really good information. And right below there, there's a video. And if you click and watch that video, it's just a few minutes long. It helps reinforce everything I'm going to show you here right now. This is there for you. It's particularly good when you're first learning how to use your scanner, but it's amazing when you're trying to show the scanner to a new person. Like if you're sending somebody an Alpha 3 pass, somebody that's going to be doing this on their own first time, make sure that they click that little question mark, read the description, and watch the video. It'll make their experience so much better. Okay, so we'll go back now. We're back at the main screen here. Now, I've already done the scan so that we don't waste that time in this training. We've said in the past that doing a vital scan once a week is generally sufficient, and that's true. In fact, I don't even know if you have to do it every single week if you're doing your quick scan or easy scan. But when you first get your scanner, the more times you can scan, the faster your system learns you. Remember, your scanner is learning you. That's why we tell you don't ever change your profile. If you grow or you shrink, you gain weight, lose weight, none of that makes any difference. All that profile was to generate a unique signature, just like your cell phone number. You'd hate to change your cell phone number because nobody could get a hold of you. You don't want to change your profile either. So the more often you do that, the better the system learns how your body responds. And so I wouldn't think it's a bad idea for you to do the first time you get your scanner, do a couple times, a morning and an evening for 3 or 4 days in that first week. Really let the system get to know you, and you get to know your system. But once that is done, once a week is generally sufficient for any of these scans, okay? For the full scans. Okay, so let's just go down through here real quick. In your list, you have food sensitivities, you have blood, you have chakras, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. You have gastrointestinal function, you have meridians, you have nutritional analysis, you have physical functionality, and you have toxicities. Those are the sections. Now, maybe if you're not feeling well, maybe all you want to do is maybe just your blood or maybe just your gastrointestinal. If you've been out on a trip and you've been out of the country and you've eaten all sorts of weird stuff and drank weird water, you might want to go down and do the toxicities and just see what's there. But for me, once a week, I'll do my whole scan. I just click it and do the scan. The scan takes just over 2 minutes to do a scan and optimization. Okay, so it doesn't take a lot of your time. So we've already done the scan. So we've done all this. Let's just go down to the report. Now, if you look down at the bottom of your screen, you have 2 report options. These are important. Enhanced report's going to give you detailed information. In other words, it's going to give you a number between 1 and 9. Now, as we've explained in the past, the numbering system of 1 to 9 means that 5 is where you're in balance. And in normal scans, 4, 5, and 6 is what we would consider your normal. Normal low, normal high. Anything below 4, so 3, 2, 1, is progressively not functioning or not where it needs to be. 7, 8, or 9 are progressively under stress or inflammation or something that needs more attention right away. Okay, so that's how the numbering system works. Now, sometimes that can get confusing. You see a 7 or you see an 8 or you see... I would recommend that if the numbering confuses you, just go to your classical reports. It just shows you it's in range or it's out of range. As you get more comfortable with your scans, as you get more comfortable with looking at them, then you go look at the numbers. That can kind of help you connecting the dots when you want to do a deeper dive. So let's start with this. Now, on food sensitivities, that's the one that you never need the enhanced report on. I would click classic because it's just simple. It's in or out. Now, what does that mean? Does it mean you're allergic to it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Basically, when you see a red, that means it's probably a food that would be harder for you to digest or to process. Doesn't necessarily mean you're allergic to it or that you can't eat it. It's more work than it's more work than the benefit you're going to get from it. If it's green, it means it's open game. Okay. There was an individual that had gone on a trip and ate lobster 3 days in a row. And before this individual sat down to eat the next day, she did the little sensitivity and lobster came up as a red. Now, we know that that individual wasn't allergic because they'd been eating it for the 3 days before, but it determined enough was enough and we were going to skip that day. That's how you should look at your food sensitivities is if it's red, avoid it. If it's green, it's okay. Simple. Nothing to worry about. You're not allergic to it. You're not going to die if you eat it. Okay? Just go through that. Now, on the others, if you scroll down, food sensitivity is big. It's over 200 items that we're looking at in here. And it's amazing, the information it gives you. But then you get down to your bloods. Now, here again, if it's your first few times going through this, I would stay on the classic reports because the numbers can be a little confusing. If it's red and it didn't change, so the symbols you see on the right that are in the gray columns, that was before optimization. The ones on the left that are in the white boxes, that's after optimization. So you can see here, my HDL-C started out of range. Now, I don't know if it was high or low. It wasn't in balance. But after the optimization, whatever it was, it brought it back into that normal range. Now, I don't know if it was normal low or normal high or just normal, but it's normal. Does that make sense? And so when you see something now, if you look down here at total cholesterol, it started out good and then it went to red. Does that mean that the scan made it worse? And the answer to that is absolutely not. What it means is under the total cholesterol, that energy there was in excess. It was imbalanced enough there was extra energy that could be used somewhere else. That's a little bit of a stretch to understand, but it's just kind of like sharing resources. That's all that is. And so when you see it go from green to red, you never worry about that. When you see it not go from red to green, it stays red, then you say, okay, I'm going to watch this over a few days. And if it stays like that, then I need to pay attention to that part of my diet or something in my daily activity. Okay. Again, if it doesn't change on one scan, you don't worry about it. You watch it over the next few scans and to see if that trend stays the same. Okay. All right. So you go down through your bloods, chakras. Now, this is one that has caused a lot of discussion in the past. Chakras and meridians both. And they somehow think that that's somehow new age or really weird stuff. It is no more weird than a glass of water is weird. Look at chakras as your circuit breakers in your house, and the meridians as the wiring that runs through the walls. There's nothing mythical or mystical or voodoo about this. It is just the way the energy flows through our body. A chakra, when it's out of range, that means it's closed. And whatever energy is flowing through that chakra has been stopped or at least hindered. So chakras, when we look at that, it just says, okay, my throat chakra or my heart chakra. And if you read down here, it'll tell you, okay, when that chakra is out of range, these are some of the physical and emotional attributes to that. And it helps you understand, okay, maybe I'm not able to voice how I feel, so my thought chakra is stopped. See, these are just ways of helping us keep ourselves in a more holistic balance. So your chakras are an amazing tool to look at. Same with your meridians. So if you see a meridian that's out, that means that particular meridian, there is something blocking that energy flow through your liver, your legs, or your circulatory system. Look at these things as guideposts along that highway to good health. And again, right underneath your meridians, you'll see explanations. If that meridian, the lung meridian, is out of range, it'll show you these are some of the conditions. And if you have those conditions or you're experiencing some of those things, then we know that we need to do some work in helping get that done. And acupuncture is a wonderful thing for chakras and meridians. You scroll down through your thing, you get down into your digestive. This is so important. You know, sometimes people think they're having a heart attack and really all they're having is really bad indigestion or the reverse. And so this is a really good report to look at. Am I having issues here that I need to pay attention to? I need to make some dietary changes. You see, we're not having to get into the weeds in this. What do I need to change? What do I need to change in my diet to make it better? Vitals is so important, and that's why we call it Vitals. It helps us understand at the foundational level of what we need to do to get our health back where we need to be. It goes through your insulin, your pancreas, your digestive enzymes, macrominerals, microminerals. Again, you look at those over time. You don't just, I've got arsenic high here. It doesn't. You might have just ate an apple. Apples are rich in arsenic. What you want to do is look at it over time, always over time, okay? And then take a look at your physical, your basic physical. That's going to go through your vagal nerve, your hydration, the physical parts of our body that are out of range or can be out of range. And then it gets down into bacterial and it gets into toxicities. Vitals is a great place to start to see where we can make changes in our life, emotionally, dietary, and just the way we think. So Vitals is a great tool. Use it, learn it, understand it.